The HOA thought they could intimidate her. They went too far when they touched her child. They thought she was just another homeowner they could bully. But what they didn't know was that she wasn't just a mother. She was one of the most powerful federal judges in the country. And when the truth came out, the entire HOA board was left trembling in front of her gavel. Angela Carter was a brilliant woman. By day, she served as a federal judge, presiding over cases that determined the fate of corporations, politicians, and criminals. By night, she was simply a mother to her 8-year-old daughter. Lily. Angela had recently moved into the Oakwood Estates neighborhood, a seemingly perfect suburban community with white picket fences, manicured lawns, and an HOA board that claimed to protect property values. But behind the smiles and barbecue invites, Angela noticed something darker. The HOA wasn't just strict, it was obsessive. They harassed homeowners over the smallest details, from mailbox colors to where kids played outside. Still, Angela believed she could handle it. She was calm, collected, and not easily shaken. But she was about to find out that the HOA would cross a line she never imagined. It started with notes. Angela would find letters stuffed under her door, criticizing everything. Your hedges are 1 inch too tall. Your daughter's toys are visible from the street. Violation. Your car is too close to the driveway edge. Angela ignored them. She knew her rights. But the HOA wasn't satisfied. One evening, Angela returned home from court to find Lily sitting on the porch, teary-eyed. A stern woman, the HOA president, Karen, stood over her. Children aren't allowed to play outside after 5 p.m., Karen barked. It disrupts the neighborhood. Angela's eyes narrowed. That's my daughter, and she has every right to play on her own lawn. Karen smirked. We'll see about that. That was the moment the HOA made it personal. A week later, everything spiraled. Angela had been called in for a late emergency hearing. She arranged for Lily to be walked home from school by a neighbor's babysitter. But when Angela returned that evening, Lily was gone. The babysitter was frantic. I dropped her off. She was right in front of the house. And then she vanished. Angela's heart pounded as she tore through the neighborhood, calling her daughter's name. Hours later, she found a note taped to her door. It was written in bold, ugly letters. Comply with HOA rules or lose more than your property. Angela's blood ran cold. This wasn't just harassment anymore. The HOA had taken her child. Angela didn't panic. She didn't cry. She transformed. She wasn't just a mother anymore. She was Judge Carter. And Judge Carter didn't bow to bullies. She immediately contacted the FBI. With her clearance, she accessed surveillance systems faster than the HOA could imagine. Within hours, she uncovered what they had done. Cameras showed Lily being lured away by 2 HOA board members. They told her they were taking her to a safe clubhouse until her mother agreed to new neighborhood rules. Angela's fury was matched only by her precision. She didn't storm the clubhouse. She didn't scream at the board. She built a legal case in real time, documenting every violation, every threat, and every recorded HOA meeting where Karen had spewed venom about removing problem families. The HOA had no idea the trap they had walked into. The next evening, Angela received another message. Meet us at the clubhouse. Alone. Sign our compliance contract, or you'll never see your daughter again. Angela walked into the clubhouse with calm, steady steps. The HOA board sat smugly at a table Lily was in the corner, frightened but unharmed. Karen sneered. Now you'll learn. In this neighborhood, we make the rules. Angela stared at them, unblinking. Then she spoke. You made 3 mistakes. First, you threatened a child. Second, you thought intimidation worked on me. And third, she pulled out her federal judge ID, slamming it on the table. You kidnapped the daughter of a federal judge. The room went silent. Faces turned pale. Karen stammered. Why you? Can't. But before she could finish, the door burst open. FBI agents swarmed in, guns raised. FBI, everyone down. The HOA board members were dragged out in handcuffs, their smug expressions replaced with raw terror. Asterisk, the news spread like wildfire. HOA board. Arrested for kidnapping child, a federal judge. The entire community watched in disbelief as their so-called leaders were exposed as criminals. Angela's daughter was safely returned to her arms. But the case didn't end there. Judge Carter presided over the pre-trial hearings herself. She stared down the very people who had once screamed at her over hedges and toys. Now they faced federal charges: kidnapping, extortion, conspiracy, and child endangerment. The HOA was dissolved. The clubhouse was locked down, and every resident who had once feared the board now saw the truth. The real criminals were the ones pretending to protect the neighborhood. Asterisk in the end. Angela and Lily walked along the lake by their home, free at last from the HOA's shadow. Lily looked up at her mother. Mummy, were you scared? Angela smiled softly. Of course I was. But fear doesn't win when you know the truth. And that night, the neighborhood learned a lesson they would never forget. When you try to control others with fear and cruelty, you may just find yourself standing before the very justice you tried to silence. Because in Oakwood Estates, the HOA thought they ruled everything, but they forgot one simple truth. Angela Carter was the law. Asterisk, so tell me, what would you do? If an HOA ever went this far, would you fight back, or would you call in bigger forces like Angela did? Comment below, I read every response. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories where justice is served.